What up, fool?
What up, fools?
What's happening?
Not much. I don't know. Workplaces are weird. I don't know. We've mentioned before my disdain for resumes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's because I think people that are good at the job are people that have worked at the job, spent some time at the job. I think learning the trade versus like just learning the terms and ins and outs and that stuff is I don't know. Like basically I'm a very street smart versus against like book smart. There's only a couple instances where I think book smart would come into play and be more viable than
street smart.
Than street smart. Like definitely street smart. I would take street smart any day in a defense situation, like a military fighting, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Versus like a book smart type thing.
Yeah, someone who's read about self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. I want someone who's actually choked out someone.
Some
versus
nerd
someone
who's
like,
just like,
I watched a YouTube video. Well, that's not gonna.
I watched a series on how to punch.
Yeah, but then I mean I don't know. Even with like clerical stuff, like technical stuff, like taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's cool that I mean, maybe lawyer like a tax law.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe knowing like all the fine print stuff. But even in like someone who's actually applied it versus I don't know. It's very weird. I guess
so. You're
just,
like more of like into actual experience versus like the like intellectual half of it. Like reading about it or studying about it.
I think it's
like you'd rather build a house than go to architecture school.
Yeah, and it's so weird because our society is based on going to architecture school.
Yeah,
and going, and I hate that because like there's so many instances where it doesn't account for so many different things. One of them,
absolutely.
I mean, also there's just unwritten things that you can't account for. Like for example, in the world of entertainment, like cool, you can learn to read notes, but like that's not going to teach you how to adjust on the fly if someone else messes up their notes, if they're playing like in a band or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, cool, you took a comedy class, but that's not going to help you if someone heckles you. They don't really teach that.
Yeah.
If someone called you a pansy or something, like, how do you respond back to that? When you were just talking about fart jokes. Like,
do you have any painful heckles that you recall?
Probably one of the most painful one wasn't even intended to be painful. It was I was eating shit. Like one of the first times I ever worked with another comic.
Yeah,
and I repeated a joke like 5 times.
Oh.
And it was moderately funny the first time. It was a hack line too. I was just starting out.
Yeah,
it was like that whole. When there's like a bright spotlight and you're like, oh, I feel like a rotisserie chicken. That whole. Well, I did that like 5 times. I repeated it 5 times.
You're like, I am a rotisserie chicken.
At that point, I was because I was fucking basting in my own sweat because I was so nervous up there. Because they told me I could do 15 minutes. And I was like, I gotta do the 15, or I'll never work in this town again.
That's a lifetime when you're just starting.
Oh, and I was just like, if I don't do it, then they're like, he couldn't fulfill his obligation. He'll never work in this town again. Like that was my mindset, dude. And so I
building up pressure.
I repeated that same joke I think for the 4th or 5th time, and I just stared out and looked at the worried and concerned faces on me it was like mostly
like he's having a stroke.
it was mostly people I loved and cared about.
Yeah,
it was like my girlfriend, all my aunts,
so
my grandma, my mom and dad, my
the early stage when people support you.
Oh my God, so much support, and I didn't need it. Because I mean, I needed it, I guess, but not really because I wasn't worth.
Yeah, you don't want people to see at that point. You gotta wait, like.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird to me because they'll support you when you're like when you suck. and then when you actually need the support,
and then not for several years, and then they'll start coming out like when you do better shows.
Oh yeah. Once you start working with bigger names,
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, hey, is there a guest list? How about I go fuck yourself?
Yeah, tickets. Like,
But the heckle was I stared out. I was just like lost, and I heard, "You got this, Marcus."
Oh, they were trying to be helpful.
I got heckled with encouragement. Is what I always tell people. You got this, Marcus. And I want to be like, I don't. Clearly, I don't. I'm staring into the spotlight like it's the eyes of God. So, But then the beauty of it was afterwards, I had the veteran comic I worked with, Dean Politano. He's been doing it for like over 30 years.
Yeah, everyone says great things about him.
He's
and he's Italian. I'd love to meet him.
Oh, dude, he would fucking love you, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I wish I was more cartoonishly Italian, but I don't play into it as
no,
much
he doesn't either.
He doesn't.
No.
Okay,
He
cool.
doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't Sebastian Maniscalco.
No,
it.
fuck no. He does stories.
He
about
doesn't talk like this.
No, he doesn't have a story about a cousin who sounds like Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like just one story.
Yeah,
I mean, most of it's talking about his pop and stuff. He's talking, it's a lot of storytelling.
That's good. Yeah,
he's
I've
good.
heard he kills. I've heard
he's
things.
so good on the fly. He's just really in his element when the room is like getting crazy.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Awesome.
did a show recently at a VFW and it went off the rails. There was like these two dudes that wouldn't shut the fuck up. We all destroyed this guy. We all just like he worked for Pepperidge Farm. He was like a cookie delivery guy, and he was fat. And I was like, dude, how many?
That was the guy who wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I was like, how many deliveries are not making it? And like just, he just and I mean, yeah. See that he didn't. This guy, I made a line later tonight. So long story short, he heckles everybody. Dean destroys him even more, and the other guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and the guy still wouldn't shut the fuck up. So afterwards, he's.
Did anyone make a Chessman joke?
No, Chessman?
Yeah.
No, what's that?
That's a Pepperidge Farm cookie.
Oh, it's a cookie, the square ones, right?
Yeah.
They have like stamp.
I remember Milano, of course. Everyone knows Milano. But
I think Dean made a Milano cookie joke.
Yeah.
He's like, you Milano cookie eating bitch or something like that. He called her or something. And but then afterwards, like it was a VFW, so he's a member. And so he couldn't just be easily just kicked out.
Yeah.
So they bared with it, but then afterwards, everyone apologized not only on behalf of the VFW and of that night, but they apologized on behalf of Astor, Florida.
The town.
It's
That's
a population.
amazing.
A population of 1,000.
They're like, we're embarrassed.
There's 100 people, so 10% of the population of that city was at that show.
Wow.
And they were like, please don't take that as a representation of our town. I shit you not.
Where is it? In
Astor, Florida. It's like it's man, it's hard to describe. It's like kind of near Ocala. It's near Ocala National Forest.
Yeah, south.
So
somewhere.
south, just like the Orlando's here, Daytona's here. Like it's between Orlando and Daytona, but just north of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and
God, there's so many little places you could probably take road trips like just forever here.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's why a lot of comedians love Florida. From a performing and paid standpoint.
Yeah,
you could book a whole run, a whole tour in the state.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of little towns. Nothing's going on there. Like I said, 10% of the audience, 10% of the town showed up for this event.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing. And they treat so they were pissed at these two dudes. And like I mean, we were ripping them apart, dude. It was like. At one point, I go, dude, if your dad just showed up to one little league game, we wouldn't be having one problem right now, like this. And then at one point, he tried to apologize to me, and every time he got like two words, and I'll stop and go, and then I go, it doesn't feel good, does it, fucker? And
fucker,
yeah, fucker, yeah.
You and Cholo on him.
yeah, puppy.
You pulled up your socks.
Yeah. Hold on, and my button.
Yeah, just one button on top and the rest unbuttoned.
It's the second button. Yeah, because
it's the second.
Well, one button up. My neck situation.
Okay, yeah.
I can't even pull off proper Cholo because I don't.
That's all I know about it. Well, yeah. So, Street Smart is definitely more like every day, like day to day common experience, I feel like street smart will get you a lot further.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if someone is intellectually smart, you can fool them through street smarts if you know like street smart like human psychology as part of street smarts, you know. I guess if you were trained in that area, you would know what to look for, but
Yeah.
people are so susceptible to so many things, so it's like I feel like you could fuck with people, even smart people, you know, they fall for all kinds of dumb shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a trade-off. I feel I have a tiny bit of both, but I wouldn't be considered street smart or book smart. I feel like I'm more book smart than street smart.
Yeah.
But I was raised in New York, so like you learn a lot of street smarts just from the environment.
Yeah.
And then I've lived in California, so it's just like you get fucking fucked over, but you know, you have to.
I think that's probably why I'm so biased towards street smarts is because of my environments I grew up in.
It could be, yeah,
Yeah. Because if I grew up in like, you know, like Silicon Valley or something, or,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or Stanford,
or like Cambridge,
yeah,
and
I would
you're
be I'd like, what's street smarts?
you summered on the Cape, and you were in like a wooden swing and reading a book.
Yeah, see, I mean, there's obviously instances
you wouldn't
where,
need street smarts because you're so comfort.
Yeah.
Like I guess if you have a level of comfort, some street smarts to a certain degree,
yeah,
a lot of it gets eliminated because you don't even people like you don't even live in the same like you don't encounter the same things, you know.
yeah. You almost don't even live in the same world, really.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't know if that's too mean. But
No,
it's
no,
like
it's not.
you don't even go you don't go to the same stores, you don't go to the same areas. Like so, if you avoid areas and then you are only in certain places, you're in safer areas.
Yeah,
You know, and then you do that. It's like less street smarts are needed because you are you still need it, of course, but I think that's the idea, though. This is the theory: is if you could rid society of crime and the need to like constantly be on awareness and stuff, and like free people up to feel comfortable.
yeah,
You could then focus attention and energy and thought onto like more creative pursuits or intellectual pursuits.
yeah.
And I think that's like an argument that's probably like, I don't know, a sociologist, I guess, would know, or I don't know, someone could probably.
No, that makes sense though. That makes sense because it's like it's almost like football players, that grew up in rough environments.
Yeah,
You know, where like football's their way out, and then once they get into an environment where it's comfortable and safe, where they take football to college and football, you know, into the pros, then that's when you find out. Like for example, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson grew up in Harlem, you know, back in the 80s when Harlem, I think it was Harlem, right?
I think like Bed-Stuy or like somewhere in Brooklyn or something.
Yeah, and now it's all gentrified, but in those days,
I watched his one-man show on HBO. I don't know if it's still available, but it was amazing.
Yeah, and then once he got comfortable in life, then that's when he started like really going back into things that were comfortable for him, like the pigeons and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, wasn't he painting? Wasn't he painting and stuff like that?
I don't know. I know he raised pigeons, and then he made an amazing cartoon. I don't know if you ever watched it, called Mike Tyson's Mysteries.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
With Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald is the pigeon.
Yeah, I stumbled upon that on a work trip.
Yeah. Oh, that bums me out. That Norm Macdonald's not gonna. I mean, I think they can't. I mean, I don't think they don't run new episodes anymore.
I heard they having a hard time getting in touch with Norm.
Yeah, come on, Ouija boards exist. What do you want?
God, that pigeon is so funny.
Yeah.
That pigeon character is so that whole cartoon is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
And it's on paper is a fucking fever dream. Like what?
Oh, dude, I know. But it had like as soon as you watch it, it has that Scooby Doo like kind of cartoon mystery feel to it. But it's so funny, and like the pigeon's so sexual. It's like he's so funny. He's just it's just so funny as Norm. It's great. I love that. Yeah, I think it's funny. Like, I'm like a constant seeker of information, so
Yeah.
like I try to always try to, if not learn. I feel like I can't retain things really well anymore. The older I get, the less I can retain.
Yeah.
But I will like take in a large amount of information
Yeah.
and just enjoy the taking in of it.
Yeah.
And like it's stimulating,
Yeah.
and I'll retain portions of it. But I recognize that a lot of it is just like you could just know it, and it's almost like it doesn't matter, because like the world just is kind of how it is, and then that's where street smarts come in, because you have
Yeah.
it's like very attuned with the reality. It's like a realism to it.
Yeah.
You know, intellectual is like also, I think is a problem with intellectuals. Like they look at the world through their own lens, you know,
Yeah.
of whatever their expertise is.
Yeah.
And there's like an old quote that Charlie Munger says, Warren Buffett's partner. He says, and someone else said it, B.F. Skinner or someone. It said, to the man with the hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And it's like, so it's just everything looks like their expertise, you know? So if they're like a
Okay.
sociologist, the world,
Gotcha.
they view the world as like everything is in those terms, you know?
Yeah, I think for me also, even in my personal life, everything that that I want to achieve or overcome or obtain, you know, like that's not professional. That's not professional. Like, you know, like fighting, fucking, eating, all that, all the things that encompass my world. You know,
Yeah.
loving, like caring for someone. It can't be taught.
Yeah.
I mean, not it can't be taught. You can't like. There's no diagram. It's just like you have to just be in the moment. You know,
Right, yeah.
Like for example, I grew up in you grew up in the South, but like when you cook, you're a very good cook.
I didn't grow up in the South.
I mean, you not grew up in the South, but you went to like North Carolina.
Yeah,
so
college.
I would say South adjacent.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I have.
But when you cook, the way you cook like a Southern person.
Yeah.
Cook, because it's like
lot of butter.
It's not like strict recipe. Like
Yeah.
a quarter. You do it by taste.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the feel of it, the love of it.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so like that's how I'm familiar with. It's like, well, no, what's this teaspoon bullshit? Like we're just gonna pour it in there until it tastes right. You know, that whole thing. And so like everything in my world it could be things can be learned that way instead of like just strict definitions. Like, so if I was like an actuary or something, or like if I was really, I'm not a big math guy. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Math is very finite. The answer is this, and the answer is that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and whereas everything I've ever done professionally, for the most part, could be adapted in some way without any finite way. Like like for example, there's not just one way to choke out a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This is very weird. So I'm learning a lot about myself through this. I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't realize I'm seeing the world through my lens as well. You know,
Everyone is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like perception is reality, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like, which is cool, because if you think about that, that means like, is like, there's no like definite truth, I guess you could say. And then also it's cool that our brains are so powerful that like perception does create reality. If you really like digest that, it means like everyone you see has like their own portrait of reality in their head.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's just a mishmash of images and fucking bullshit stories, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny to think like if you're religious,
Yeah.
and you believe in whatever religion you believe in,
Yeah.
like that shit's real to you, because
Yeah.
your brain is that powerful,
Yeah.
and it will like, and the world is that, and to you, or to that person rather. And then someone who's not, but someone who's like, I don't know, but it's everything. It's like everything is that.
Yeah.
And so everyone's experiencing that. for the first time, and then also like with the realization that it's fleeting. You know,
Yeah.
it's a finite thing.
Yeah.
So
And and that's the thing. I'm trying to break free. Like I and a lot of times I feel like I have an open mind, but like sometimes when we get on the topic of like something like this, where I'm like, oh shit, I'm pretty one track mind. Like I want to be, you know, those little like action figures where you press on the head and there's like a different face pops up.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's how I want to perceive life is through the different scopes of reality.
yeah.
Like for example, like you know, I'm not a lady, so I like talking to my female friends, and and I realize that certain aspects of the world that are comfortable for me are a fucking nightmare. And it'd be the same thing if you have someone with a different ethnicity or someone who's a handicap.
Isn't that a strange? That was mind blowing to me when I first learned that like women are scared all the time.
Yeah.
I never knew that until I was in like my mid-20s.
Well, also, what threw me off was I come from a family of very assertive women
Yeah,
who, yeah, they
me too.
and
I think maybe that's it. What is it?
that's our scope. Because like,
Yeah.
for example, when I worked at the mall and I had these ladies like, can you please walk me to my car? And I'm like, what happened? Is everything okay? And they're like, this guy was just looking at me weird. And I come from women that be like, go fuck yourself. What are you looking at? You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm not used to that level of that particular type of woman who wouldn't just tell the guy to go fuck off and like
Yeah.
threaten to cut him, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm used to that. I'm used to more assertive, violent women. And then it got to the point where I was dating them. I was dating those type of women.
Those same type? Oh,
Yeah, very aggressive and stuff like that. And like I mean everyone has the ability for aggression. Everyone has the ability to kill. That's why I think that's why everyone
Yeah.
like, is fascinated with those murder documentaries, because everyone knows that all it takes is just something to snap and that's it. Everyone has it.
I think so. I'm fascinated with like why do people love true crime shows?
Yeah.
Like that question, and I think that's certainly one of them.
Yeah.
I think part of it is like sort of why people like watching reality TV shows,
Yeah.
because it's like people in a terrible situation. Like you're watching people in a disastrous, horrible situation.
Yeah.
And you're just like sitting there safe on your couch.
Yeah.
And you like deep down inside, it's like, at least that's not my life. Like my life isn't that.
Yeah.
It's like my life isn't that bad. It's like you're just watching something like reinforcing. You'd be like, well, at least that I'm not fucking.
I'm not a redneck who impregnated his cousin by accident when he didn't know it was his cousin.
Yeah.
Or some weird whatever scenario is playing out in there. You know, fuck, dude. Yeah, it's I think that's why everyone's fascinated with true crime though. Is everyone knows it deep down instinctually that all it takes is the right circumstances and everyone's capable of killing and murder. Everyone. Because we're animals. That's what animals do. That's what animals do in the wild, in the nature.
Yeah.
Is even vegetarians like hippos are some of the most murderous fucking animals.
Yeah, I heard hippos are nasty.
Yeah.
I heard they're hungry. I think it's that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
True crime. It's interesting to see, and it's also funny that and I don't know if it goes with the theory that it's like, at least it's not my life, but people seem to enjoy like the worse a crime is, or like the more gruesome a story is, you know, the worse it is, the more people like it.
Yeah.
And that's a strange dynamic.
Well,
it's I've tried a bit on stage about that a few years back, and I never got it to work. It's like one of those that I was like, I feel like there's a funny idea there, but I could never.
Yeah.
I never got it to fully.
Well, I think it's you get to appease your morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
And still be safe, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
You know, like you hear someone, oh man, there was a guy at the.
Well, it's like a roller coaster. It's like going on a roller coaster. It's
Yeah.
like it's scary, but you know you're safe.
Yeah, because you get the harness on.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like for example, you find out like, oh man, this guy who worked at the meat packing plant fell in the fucking meat grinder. Like, oh, that's so brutal, and you're like, I want to see pictures of that shit because because you're safe. You're not that guy.
You're not in the thing.
Yeah.
Is it also funny like with crime and like tragedy and stuff? The further away people are from you, the less you care about it. Like a missing girl goes, like a girl go missing like in Florida or whatever, and
Oh,
people are like freaking out and
oh
nervous.
shit. Yeah.
But then it's like Lithuania, and it's like
Yeah.
a mine blew up in 126th Lithuania. Well, I guess this is a bad time now. 'Cause now everyone's concerned about not Lithuania, but another Owania.
another
But
European nation,
typically, people don't seem to care. That really that example really fell apart with the current events.
Not really though, because there's still a wide array of people I know in my circle.
You want to know how it's true? Because Russia's just a little bit further away than Ukraine.
Yeah,
People care less about Russia.
yeah, and I think there's a group of people in my circle that don't care at all about that shit.
Yeah,
I think it's also because my circle skews a little bit differently because I have like multi-ethnic, so there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, so now we care because they're white.
yeah, that's what
There's a lot of
that's
of
what
that.
I've heard a lot from my anyone who's not white friends.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, this shit's been going on in the Middle East for fucking forever, and no one really gives a shit. And Africa and Congo and was it Rwanda? And
It's weird that there's like a social, call to it.
Yeah, and then there's some underlying stuff that like that's another thing. I was like, I may have to purge my friends list because I got some conspiracy junkies on there. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I know. So someone, my buddy, a comic buddy of mine, sent a screenshot of someone else we know who used to be a comic, but he moved away. I don't know where he is now. But he just posted on Facebook, "Let's go Russia."
Oh Jesus!
And then there was like 80 comments, and it was like a conspiracy theory like haven of just people posting things and left and right and going nuts, and we were just laughing. And he was like, "I want to post." He was like, "But I know it'll just be like update like forever, like."
Oh yeah, in perpetuity until it gets canceled.
Yeah,
or blocked or whatever.
It's funny, like I find conspiracy theories are like, I find them interesting to hear about. Like if someone was like this, and this, you're like, that's great. But all of them, that like, there's nothing you could do about it. You know, a lot of it is just like, I think a psychological comfort to like, I think it lessens the randomness of things or the world. Like it makes the world seem less chaotic.
Yeah.
Because if there's always someone nefarious behind a thing, then it's like it's still someone's in control of it,
Yeah.
So therefore there's still like a sense of order to the world.
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree with it or if you feel like the people above you are evil or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But it's still like comforting because you're like, at least things are in control.
Oh yeah, because I think inherently most of us also appreciate structure.
Yes.
Some type of structure.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
that's exactly. Yeah. It's that. I think it's that.
Yeah.
So even though, I think conspiracy theory psychologically taps into some sort of, some of that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that's true about our society and structure because, call centers are proof of that because something goes wrong. You want someone to complain to or someone to fix this issue.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, it's like, all right, let me speak to this person, and then they'll send it to this person. And it's like, they love pecking orders and
they love a pecking order. I can tell you, I don't work in a call center. I work, but there, the university I work, I can bleep that out. The place I work at has a call center, so I'll have like
you work in a universe? Yeah, the universe.
A universe. Yeah. So people will call them, and then if it like escalates, they'll call one of us.
Yeah.
And the people who will call, they'll be screaming at the people at the call center. Yeah. And then they get on the phone with you, and they're all like normal. Yeah. And because the people will come on, the call center people, and they're so mad. They'll tell you, they'll like vent to you a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's cool. We'll take care of it. And
yeah. Well, because when they work up the pecking order, they're like, oh, this is someone who can make a difference for me.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's weird. I had a conversation with that last night. Apparently there was a younger comic who went to another scene, and the comics there did not welcome them in any light. Like they were
really?
very offstandish. Some of them kind of rude, basically.
Oh.
Now my thing is there's I take everything in a grain of salt. Like like what you perceive as rude could be just someone who has autism. You know what I mean? Like I mean,
comedy does attract them.
Yeah, attracts them. It attracts a lot of people on the autism spectrum.
Hell yeah.
But my thing was
Spectrum word games. That's
Yeah,
what comedy should be called.
Spectrum word games. Oh, that's funny. That should be the name of a really killer show. But no, but they were like, yeah. And then I was like, do you know any of the people that were kind of like rude to you? And they started naming them, and I was like, I wanted to be like, well, they're not like that with me, but I couldn't because my experience
You're
level,
up the pecking order.
I'm up the pecking order, so
Yeah.
they treat me differently inherently all the time. So like that could be their reality. Plus, it was a lady too, so there's another aspect to like we were mentioning it before.
Oh yeah.
So in our society, pecking order is man and woman, as it should be. I was kidding.
They just watched that Miss Maisel show and they're like, we're sick of this.
Yeah,
Female comedians taking over.
taking our jobs.
They took our jobs.
They took our names. Okay.
But yeah, so let us know what you think. Do you have street smarts or you have book smarts or which one do you think is more important?
Yeah, I'd say street smarts because street
Yeah.
smarts can be a blend of both of the
Yeah.
worlds, but like, yeah, unless I'm doing calculus, fucking street smarts, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know.
I'm a big advocate for multidisciplinary learning, they call it.
Yeah,
Whereas like you try to learn the big ideas or concepts from all fields of knowledge and you try to connect the dots between it and make judgments on that,
yeah.
So it's like you try to like continuously learn.
I like that though, because like it's the whole jack of all trades but master of none.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I appreciate the masters
because
something.
you can you could dedicate your life and master stuff.
Yeah,
But just as like an intellectual thing, it's good to take in knowledge or principles or concepts from different areas of,
yeah,
like learn some accounting and then psychology and biology and history,
yeah,
and learn bits of everything
yeah. I like that.
and then try to plug it all together.
Yeah,
But also you could just be foolish.
yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because if you're not, then you're dumb.
Yeah,
And
it's not
no
fun to be dumb.
But it's cool to be foolish.
It's never smooth, but I mean, we get it out.